Listen up, guys. You just dropped 40 or 50 grand of your hard-earned cash at the dealership, and you're driving home a brand new SUV that still has that fresh leather smell. You think you're buying peace of mind, right? But just a few months later, that exact same car is sitting right here on my lift. It's leaking transmission fluid everywhere. The steering wheel is locked up solid, and the dashboard is flashing warning lights like a damn Christmas tree. The real kick in the teeth is when you take it back in for warranty work, and the dealer just shrugs and hits you with, "We're waiting on a software patch." Let me shoot straight with you. That is not just a rare stroke of bad luck. That is a nightmare happening to thousands of owners right now. Consumer Reports just dropped their real-world survey data, covering over 380,000 owners. And trust me, the reliability scores for these 2025 and 2026 models are going to make your jaw drop. Today, we are cutting through the dealership BS from the perspective of a mechanic who actually gets his hands dirty every single day. I am going to break down the most brutal battle in the market this year. We are putting the absolute worst brand new SUVs, some hitting rock bottom with a humiliating reliability score of 4 out of 100, head-to-head against bulletproof machines that pull a near-perfect 97 out of 100. This is a straight-up fight between half-baked tech garbage and pure core mechanical reliability. So grab a cup of coffee because this data is literally going to save you from throwing tens of thousands of dollars right out the window. Let us kick things off with the midsize family haulers. Because this is the segment where people usually demand rock-solid dependability. You buy one of these because you have kids, you have a ton of cargo, and you need something that is going to start up every single morning without question. But if you walk into a Ford dealership today and drive off in a brand new Ford Explorer, you are playing a high-stakes game of Russian roulette with your bank account. Consumer Reports slapped the Explorer with a humiliating 30 out of 100 for reliability. And from what we are seeing in the service bays, that score is completely justified. Underneath that shiny new sheet metal, it is an absolute mechanical and electrical disaster. First off, there is a software bug in the powertrain control module that is genuinely terrifying. If that computer module randomly resets while you are driving at around 10 miles per hour, it can permanently destroy the park gear. That is the actual mechanical component inside your transmission that physically stops your 2-ton family hauler from rolling down a hill when you put it in park. That is not just some annoying radio glitch, guys. That is a massive safety hazard that could send your vehicle rolling through a grocery store parking lot. And speaking of the transmission, Ford literally shipped these things out of the factory, with loose and sometimes completely missing bolts in the transmission crossmember. The crossmember is the heavy steel brace that physically holds the transmission up and secures it to the frame of the vehicle. How does a multi-billion-dollar assembly line just forget to bolt the transmission to the frame securely? It is completely embarrassing and shows a total lack of quality control on the factory floor. Add in a brand new infotainment system that randomly goes pitch black while you are driving down the highway, taking your digital speedometer with it for up to 10 minutes, and you have a total lemon. You are flying blind on the interstate, with your family in the back seat, with absolutely no idea how fast you are going. Now let us look at the heavy hitter that absolutely destroys the Explorer in every single mechanical category. I am talking about the Honda Passport. This thing pulled a near-perfect 97 out of 100. 97. You do not get a reliability score like that by rushing experimental garbage to the market just to impress tech bloggers. You get it by sticking to what actually works in the real world. Pop the hood on a Passport, and you will find Honda's legendary 3.5-liter J-Series V6 engine. There are no fragile turbochargers cooking your engine oil at extreme temperatures, and there is no overly complicated hybrid electrical mess. It is just a naturally aspirated block that Honda has been meticulously refining for literally decades, and it is widely considered one of the most durable engines ever put into a consumer vehicle. Pair that proven engine block with a well-sorted 9-speed automatic transmission, and you have a drivetrain that is engineered from the ground up to easily breeze past 200,000 miles with nothing but your basic routine fluid changes. Inside the cabin, Honda kept it strictly old school and highly practical with physical buttons and tactile knobs. There is no digging through 3 layers of a laggy, unresponsive touchscreen just to turn on your air conditioning or adjust the fan speed while you are trying to navigate through heavy city traffic. It is bulletproof. It is highly practical, it is safe, and most importantly, it will not leave your family stranded on the side of the interstate waiting for an expensive tow truck. Moving down to the highly competitive compact SUV segment, we have a textbook perfect example of exactly what happens when a manufacturer redesigns a car way too aggressively. I am talking about the Chevrolet Equinox and its corporate twin, the GMC Terrain. Both of these General Motors products scored a pathetic 17 out of 100 on the reliability scale. 17. They received a full ground-up redesign, and honestly, they look pretty sharp sitting on the showroom floor. But mechanically speaking, they are falling apart. The all-wheel drive models are paired with an 8-speed automatic transmission. That is, quite frankly, an engineering disaster. We are seeing massive transmission fluid leaks right out of the gate. And to properly fix that fluid leak, we as mechanics have to completely drop the subframe and pull the entire heavy gearbox out. It is an absolute nightmare that no new car owner should ever have to deal with. But the mechanical failures are only half of the horrific story here. The body control modules and transmission control modules on these General Motors compacts are constantly throwing unexplainable electrical faults. We are seeing official reports of these cars literally starting their engines on their own, while parked in the driveway, or far worse, the engine aggressively surging forward, while the driver is sitting with their foot firmly planted on the brake pedal at a red light. That is a runaway vehicle situation waiting to happen, and it is a massive liability for anyone behind the wheel. So, what is the ultimate antidote to this General Motors poison? It is the Mazda CX-5. Consumer Reports gave the CX-5 a rock-solid 84 out of 100. And as a mechanic who turns wrenches for a living, I can tell you exactly why it scores so high. The CX-5 is the absolute hidden gem of the entire compact SUV class, because Mazda flat out refused to follow the stupid, unreliable industry trends, while every other manufacturer was aggressively downsizing to tiny, overstressed, heavily turbocharged engines, paired with weak, rubber band, continuously variable transmissions. Just to meet strict fuel economy numbers, Mazda kept their powertrain incredibly simple and robust. They use a naturally aspirated 2.5-liter 4-cylinder engine. No turbocharger means significantly less internal engine heat, lower cylinder pressure, and far fewer expensive moving components waiting to explode under the hood. And instead of using a notoriously fragile, continuously variable transmission, they bolted that engine to a traditional 6-speed automatic transmission utilizing actual steel planetary gears. That mechanical design has been around for decades. It is thoroughly understood by every single mechanic in the country, and it simply does not break when you put it under a heavy load. Furthermore, Mazda has been using this exact same basic vehicle platform for years. All the little annoying factory squeaks, cabin rattles, and manufacturing assembly line bugs were completely ironed out a long time ago. If you want a compact SUV that you can drive hard for 150,000 miles without any expensive drama, stop looking around, ignore the dealership marketing gimmicks, and just go buy the Mazda CX-5. Alright, let us talk about the absolute most dangerous vehicle segment for your wallet right now in 2026, and that is the plug-in hybrids. The automotive manufacturers are aggressively selling you on the beautiful dream of electric vehicle fuel economy combined with the infinite driving range of a traditional gas engine. But the harsh reality down in the service bays is that combining a highly volatile high-voltage electric battery system with a traditional internal combustion engine is incredibly complex, and most of these car makers are failing miserably at the execution. Let us start with the Mazda CX-90 plug-in hybrid. This one actually breaks my heart because Mazda usually builds fantastic, highly reliable stuff, but they drop the ball so incredibly hard on this new architecture that Consumer Reports gave it a disgraceful 4 out of 100. 4. That is basically as bad as a reliability score can mathematically get. For any vehicle ever manufactured in history, owners are getting catastrophic engine malfunction alerts that completely disable the vehicle within the first 100 miles of ownership. Some incredibly unlucky people are experiencing these massive total system failures while they are still doing the basic sales walkthrough on the dealership lot. The electronic steering racks are severely glitching out, making the steering wheel literally physically fight the driver, as if the lane keep assist safety feature is permanently jammed stuck permanently in the active position. Mazda is throwing full steering rack hardware replacements and entire high-voltage battery pack replacements at these brand new cars to keep them running. It is clearly a rushed, unfinished vehicle platform. But incredibly, the Jeep Grand Cherokee 4xe is right down there at the bottom of the barrel, scoring a miserable 10 out of 100. You are paying $85,000 for a luxury Jeep, and the telematics module is draining the battery, completely dry while the car is simply parked. You walk out to your brand new SUV in the morning to go to work, and it is completely dead in your driveway, like a giant metal brick, repeatedly, week after week. When it actually decides to start and run, owners report a terrifying loss of propulsion while driving at highway speeds and catastrophic software failures when it is freezing. Additionally, the extra weight of that hybrid battery is severely stressing the vehicle's suspension components and eating through the standard brake pads like they are made of cheap cardboard. So who actually gets the complex hybrid system right? Toyota. Specifically, the Toyota Grand Highlander Hybrid and the standard Toyota Highlander. The Grand Highlander pulled a very respectable 73 out of 100, pairing Toyota's battle-tested, legendary hybrid architecture with a turbocharged engine that actually functions harmoniously without exploding. And the standard Highlander hit 71 out of 100 using their rock-solid, naturally aspirated setup. Toyota has been building hybrid drivetrains decades longer than anyone else in the market, and their internal factory testing standards are strictly built around a 200,000-mile durability target. Their electronic continuously variable transmission does not use a cheap metal friction belt that eventually wears out, slips, and heavily snaps under pressure. It uses a highly robust planetary gear set design. There is literally nothing internal to aggressively wear out or break. Furthermore, Toyota's regenerative braking software system is so perfectly dialed in that the electric motors handle the vast majority of the vehicle's stopping force. I have personally seen Toyota hybrids roll into my service shop with 150,000 miles on the dashboard still safely running on their original factory-installed brake pads. That is real, tangible money saved over the total life of the vehicle. And that is exactly why you buy a Toyota hybrid over a Jeep or a Mazda experiment. Look, if there is one core lesson I want to relentlessly hammer into your head today, directly from the greasy shop floor, it is exactly this. Do not ever volunteer to be a multi-thousand-dollar guinea pig for a massive car manufacturer. Whenever you see a brand new ground-up redesign, a completely newly engineered engine layout, or a massive leap in unproven, highly experimental dashboard technology, turn around and walk away from the dealership immediately. The manufacturers are currently pushing the extreme limits of automotive technology way faster than their internal quality control departments can possibly keep up with. They are heavily relying on you, the paying retail customer, to find the expensive factory defects for them out on the public roads, so they can quietly issue a software patch or a technical service bulletin a year later. Do not play that expensive game. If you want actual sleep-at-night reliability, you absolutely need to buy a vehicle built on a platform and engine architecture that has been in continuous, uninterrupted production for at least 4 or 5 years. The Honda Passport and the Mazda CX-5 are bulletproof specifically because they are absolutely not the newest, shiniest, most futuristic toys on the block. They rely heavily on older, heavily proven mechanical engineering principles. A naturally aspirated internal combustion engine and a traditional geared automatic transmission will always aggressively outlast a tiny, highly stressed turbo motor, bolted to an experimental, glitchy electrical system. Stop buying your daily driver cars based on how big and bright the dashboard screen is, and start buying them based purely on the heavy metal that is actually bolted to the subframe. At the end of the day, buying a brand new car is one of the absolute biggest financial decisions you will ever make in your life, and you have to use cold logic and hard statistical data, not flashy dealership marketing hype. Let the uneducated buyers out there purchase the shiny, untested garbage that will inevitably spend half its life waiting for back-ordered replacement parts in a dealership service bay. Protect your hard-earned money and buy the mechanical machines that are actually built to last the test of time. I want to hear directly from you guys, down in the comments section right now. What specific SUV are you currently driving? Exactly how many miles are sitting on the odometer? And are you personally dealing with any of these ridiculous reliability nightmares we talked about today? Let me know the absolute truth. If you found this deep mechanical breakdown genuinely helpful, and you want more straight-up, unfiltered, strictly data-driven automotive advice, without all the corporate manufacturer fluff, do me a huge favor and hit that subscribe button. Thanks for hanging out in the shop with me today, and I will see you guys on the next one.